The usual. Well, guys, it's the last Zoom meeting of 2025, and I'm delighted to see all the faces here from all around the world. We got Arizona covered, we got Wisconsin covered, we got New Jersey, Maine, uh, certainly Massachusetts. We got Vermont with the V. Well, wait a minute, wait, hold on. We got the North Pole covered here, and we got New Zealand. I'm very impressed. So we have and I'm hoping I haven't missed anything. I did hit Maine. I'm looking around any state I may have missed, but I'm very impressed by our worldwide coverage. But anyway, it's been a great year, and we're just going to have a nice, relaxing evening tonight. We're going to first of all, I don't have any announcements because it really is nothing going on except Christmas shopping. So everybody's going out and buying their vintage electronics for their significant other, whether they like it or not, because if they don't like it, it's yours. So,
Either that or you're divorced.
well, that's the other thing, wear a hard hat or you'll be prepared for a iron pan or maybe a waffle iron. The two
Mm.
favorite waffle irons are good because they leave that pattern. You can't, you can't make that's certainly worth it. But any rate, for the whole club, we've had a really good year overall, some really good meetings, and of course, lots of great Zoom meetings of people sharing all sorts of great things, and all the recordings there for people to go live back and walk back down memory lane. So at any rate, without further ado, I think what I want to do is just as a quick thing for those of you who joined a bit late is we have a couple options here. We're going to show the last year's meeting to show the reOHMing, Santa reOHMing, because it's like the Christmas story every year. You watch the most delightful, enjoyable, uh, classic Christmas show that you're going to do, and of course,
Yeah, but nobody really putting their tongue on the transformer to make sure if it's got any juice in it.
that is right. Um, So we'll do that. And then we could break away. Tom has dropped the link. If people want, if this is going to be a group vote, whether at the end we want to drop off to the AWA, it's got a link covering the Holocrafted Stool Diversity One. It's going to be a presentation, so we can make it a group vote at the end whether we want to do that or we're going to stay here and we do round robin and we got to talk about what each is up to. Doesn't could be vintage electronics or not. And of course, we make sure at the end, make sure we toast in the end of the year before we break away. But we'll do that on the fly. So anyway, without further ado, let me make sure I've got this window up. Yep, and I'm going to share my screen. There we go. And I'm going to try to uh, share this. And I got to get to the proper, sorry, but I got to go. Might set to be difficult.
I've got it on YouTube if you want me to do it, John.
I should have, no, do you have just the clip? I have the meeting and we start off right with it. That's how
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, I have the clip.
do you want to do that, Santa?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
All right, let me make sure I've got you sharing privs because I will have to, God forbid I don't give Santa sharing privs.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing here and give you the reins. Haha, see, reins. Uh,
Okay.
all right, host tools. Let's see. There we go. Okay, Santa, you are locked and loaded.
Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Ah,
dear.
yes, you've got it. Okay. Let me see. I've got to share sound on this.
Yes, sir.
And let's go here. Uh, see what happens. Okay, and we are going to go.
You are.
All right. Well, hello, everybody.
Whoa, I'm there again.
Hello,
Had
Santa.
one heck of a snowstorm up
Good.
here, and that's nothing new because we always have a lot of snowstorms. Matter of fact, it's constantly snow up here, snow, snow, snow. We don't have any power lines that come in here, and we can't use solar cells because it snows so much that it keeps the light from getting to the solar cells, and windmills are out of the question because they freeze up solid. So we have a very, very hard time with heating and with energy up here. As a matter of fact,
Where are you located?
it becomes a serious problem. And we really had to bundle up a great deal until I realized that maybe there's another source of energy here. And I looked at all my 712 reindeer, and I thought of the old saying, beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. And my golly, 712 reindeer toot one heck of a lot. And we can burn that, and that gives us not only heat, but it gives us electricity. So when I discovered that, we started having beans shipped in by sleigh in huge amounts, and we are living on beans. I tell you, it is wonderful. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you to Santa's toy shop and radio shop. For 2,781 years, I used to make and give away silly little wooden elves like this guy here and this little guy up here. And I decided that I might want to try something else. And now I got into radios, modern radios like Atwater-Kent, and really started grooving on those. And I heard about ways of getting these without actually having to pay for them, because Santa doesn't have any money. Nobody pays Santa. Yeah, Santa has to do this all on his own. So I heard about this place called NEVEC in Brookline, and I dressed up incognito, and I made a clandestine raid on Brookline, New Hampshire at the last NEVEC meet. And I walked around trying to look innocent. And I think I got away with it. Nobody really looked at me because everybody was looking a little weird that day. But I was secretly keeping my eyes on the free table. And as the show went on, I saw this poor old Atwater-Kent radio sitting on the free table, and it got late. And then it got very late, and the Atwater-Kent was still sitting on the free table. And the end of the show came along, and nobody took it. And Bruce was grumbling away. Larry was getting really annoyed. Tom finally said he'd take it home and bury it. But when nobody was looking, I put it in a big bag, and I sneaked into the woods nearby where my reindeer and sleigh were waiting, and I took off with it for the North Pole. Now, you've all heard of the All-American 5. Well, this is the Atwater-Kent 6. And you can see that wonderful logo on the front, the Atwater-Kent logo. And this is one heck of a good radio. Now, when you get a radio like this, the first thing you want to do is to turn it on. But I found out it wasn't working. Matter of fact, a lot of things weren't working on it. So I got my tools out, and I surrounded myself with all the important tools like the wire cutters and a pretty good sized pair of vice grips. You never know when you're going to have to do something serious with a radio. And I started thinking about what's going on with this radio. And the first thing I noticed was that there were a whole bunch of wires coming out of it, not just the normal 2 wires that you plug into the wall, but there were bundles of wires. Look at those wires, would you? Well, I took the long ones and I connected them to one side of a plug, and I took the short ones and I connected them over to the other side of the plug so I could plug the darn thing in. I know that they probably have different purposes, but I figured AC, alternating voltage is going to cancel out any problems. And who wants a battery set anyway? You got to plug the thing in. And so I prepared to try the radio out. But first, every time you get an old radio, everybody says you got to recap it. What a ridiculous, ridiculous thing to do to a poor old radio, recap it. Take Santa's cap, you wouldn't recap Santa, would you? No, you shouldn't recap a radio, for God's sake. It is a very simple matter to take a hairdryer and every condenser in the radio, and you heat up the condenser with the hairdryer. And what that does is it lets the wax inside the condenser run back around all those little plates in there. And it continues to be a good condenser after that because the wax is an insulator, for goodness sake. So don't ever recap a radio. What you gotta do is you've gotta reOHM a radio. Now, reOHMing a radio is an amazing job. And I'm going to tell you a little about reOHMing in case you don't understand how extraordinary a device a ohm or a resistor is. Resistors waste electricity. Did you know that? Every single resistor in every radio wastes electricity. And not only that, it turns the electricity into heat. And talk about a waste. Only up here at the North Pole do you need that kind of heat. But anyway, every radio you turn on, all these resistors are constantly turning out heat. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. So what you do is you take your wire cutter and you go down and you snip off both leads of the resistor like that. And then you look at the resistor and look at this resistor. Will you look at this guy? Look at that. Can you see? It's an orange resistor. You know what that means? That means 3, 3, and then 3 zeros. 3,300 ohms. And that's a lot of wasted energy, of wasted electricity and heat. Ridiculous. Throw the damn thing away. Now look at this one. I just got it out. I'll have to finish cutting it now. Yeah, cut it out. And this one is a orange yellow. My goodness, that is 3,300 ohms. What a ridiculous piece of junk that is. And then we have this one that is a brown green. A brown green is a million ohms. Can you imagine it? What an incredible waste of electricity. A million ohms, for goodness sake. Get rid of it. And what you do is you use the really clever technique of you take some bus wire, and this is a roll of number 2 copper wire, and you replace every single resistor with number 2 copper wire when you have an old radio. And what that does is it makes the electricity go through much faster. Instead of a million ohms, copper wire is 0.000000042 ohms for the length that a typical resistor would be. Here's another ridiculous little resistor. Get rid of it and replace it with a real solid conductor. Radios need conductors in order to work properly. And that is one of the great lessons that I've learned. You do not want to waste electricity. Do you know that the typical Atwater-Kent radio has 8,871,562,392 ohms in one radio. My God, what a lot of ohms. That's enough heat and enough energy and enough power wasted. You could heat a whole town with that amount of electricity. So the first thing you should do whenever you get a radio, old or new, is reOHM the darn thing and save the world, because we're in an energy crisis. Energy crisis. We could eliminate the energy crisis completely by reOHMing every single radio, television, and other electronic device in the world. So that's the first step. You reOHM everything. Then you go on and you do some other repairs. I got some service instruments over here. We've got a signal tracer, and we've got a good old 260, Simpson 260 VOM. Now the Simpson 260 VOM is a wonderful device, but if you look at it closely, it's always frowning. Look at that dial. It always looks like it's unhappy. What you got to do with a Simpson 260 is you turn it upside down and you put a hat on it and a couple of eyes and you make it smile. Can you see the smile on that baby? That's a happy Simpson 260 ohm meter and voltmeter. And you don't want an unhappy one in your shack. You want a happy meter in your shack. So there you go. And that's really important. You start putting those wires on those parts inside the radio and you start working on it. Now, I'm going to show you some of the other instruments when I get there, but let's plug in the radio and see what happens. And we'll just put some tubes in it. And what you got to do when you put tubes in is you got to have the right tubes for the radio. Now, these old radios, ridiculous old radios, they use tubes with pins on them. And the modern tubes have screw-in bases. Now, a screw-in base is much more sensible. A tube with pins on it can fall right out of the radio, for goodness sake. And a screw-in tube, it doesn't fall out of the radio. So just bear with me for a minute while I put some new tubes in this radio here. And we'll put that one in, and we'll put this one in. Whoops, yeah, there we go. We'll put this one in. And oh, this one's not working. Let me try my tube tester. You didn't know that a signal tracer is also a tube tester, did you? That's the old ICO signal tracer. But if you look carefully, there's a socket there, and you can screw your tubes into that, and you can test them. Well, that is a bad tube. Let's try this one to make sure it works okay. We'll screw it into the tube tester. Yep, see, that one worked fine. I'm going to throw that one away and we'll put this one into the Atwater-Kent. Yep, there we go. We're going to put in another tube there, and we'll put in another tube over here. And let me see, yeah, that one's working. And we'll put in a tube here. Yeah. I hope that one's going to work all right. Let's see. Yeah, it's giving me a little trouble going in, but I know it'll work. I hope it'll work. Yeah, getting close there. Yeah. And yeah, come on. There we go. And we got one more to put in to get the All-American Atwater-Kent six tubes. Can you imagine it? And there they are, and there they are. They're all working.
Bravo.
I just lost my video. Are you getting me still?
Yeah. Oh, Santa, you're coming clear.
Okay, let me just, I don't know what happened there. Let me just recheck my internet connection here a moment. And stand by one. There we go. Okay, so I've got my 6 tubes working here, and they look pretty good actually. And now comes the point at which we test it. We got the radio on, we got the tubes lighted up, and we got it all re-ohmed so that it's not wasting electricity. I got 3 300-foot long wire antennas up here, and I've got them all connected to the back of the radio, this little antenna connection here. And so it's got plenty of antenna, and I got this loudspeaker over here so we can see if anything comes out of it. Can you see I guess you can see the loudspeaker okay. And I'm going to turn it on, and it makes the volume control go up, and I'm tuning around the dial. And you hear anything? I don't hear anything. There's something wrong here. I don't know what's going on, but I got to figure that out. We need a signal generator in order to test a radio like this. Now, signal generators generally work on a low harmonic frequency, and then you use the higher harmonics, which get up into the radio frequency. So I'm going to start with a simple signal generator. I didn't hear anything from the speaker. Let's try this one. Nothing coming through. Nothing. What's the matter with this? I'm doing all kinds of harmonic. That's ridiculous. What's going on here? Let's try, since we got to have harmonics, we got to have a harmonica. Jingle bells. Oh, well, you know that song. I won't keep playing it. Something is very wrong with this radio. I just can't imagine why it didn't respond. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hook up my 1,000-watt radio transmitter here. I've got a kilowatt amplifier back here, and my friend Tom, W1TP, is letting me use his license. We won't tell the FCC about that. And we're going to hit the microphone with that. And let me see, I'll plug in a microphone to that radio. Let me see, we got a microphone here that looks like it might work. Hello, test. Hello, test. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Nothing coming through at all. Nothing. I mean, is that ridiculous? How about this other microphone? This is a nice, relatively modern one. We'll look at hello, test. Hello, 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 test. Hello. Nothing coming through at all. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm very upset about that. And, you know, I've gone through all this trouble. We're hitting it with all that power. We've got a loudspeaker on it. What else can I do? And one of the problems that I'm noting here is that it's starting to smoke. And this is big trouble. You don't want a smoking radio on your bench. So you put out the fire by pouring whipped cream all over it. I mean, fire is all over it. You know, that's it. And pretty soon you've got, at least you put out the fire, and now you've got a radio covered with whipped cream. And of course, you know, this radio isn't any good because it isn't working. So you throw some sprinkles on it, and you sprinkle it with a little bit of candy, and you know it's still going to smoke a little bit, but what the heck. And then you get your marshmallows out, and you might as well, you know, you've got this radio, you might as well cook your marshmallows on it. So we just put a marshmallow on there and a marshmallow on there, and take a little lip. Yummy. That, ooh, that's good. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So as you can see, the radio fixing in the North Pole is kind of ridiculous, but what I'm going to do when nobody's looking, I'm going to take this radio and take it back to Brookline and see if I can get a different radio. So don't tell anybody. Whatever you do, if you see an Atwater-Kent radio with marshmallows or whipped cream all over it, don't give away my secret. Whatever you do, and Christmas is coming, remember that. And I got other radios. Don't worry, I got other radios. Got lots of other radios I've been working on. Some actually work after I reown them too. And the most important thing of all is don't light your fireplace on Christmas Eve, because I'm coming down that chimney and I don't want to get my toes burned. So please, please, please don't light your fireplace. And with that, I wish you, oh, we got to put out the fire a little bit more. Oh, wow. I wish you very, very, Merry Christmas while I call the fire department.
Bravo. Well done, Santa.
Oh,
Well, this is a classic, just like I said, every time. How many people watch, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or The Christmas Story or The Grinch or blah, blah, blah. reOHMing, Santa's Workshop reOHMing is a classic. And you know what? We'll have to nominate you for like an Academy Award. You got to get out there.
I don't know how I turned this off.
Oh, it's still going?
And we can't use solar cells because
Yep. There you go.
Is it still coming through?
Nope. We're clean.
Okay.
It's just the rest of us. So I know you're at 8, Santa, and I know you are supposed to fly out to the AWA with your sleigh and your drone-driven sleigh. Guys, do you want to go cut over to that, or do you like to stay on and do a round robin? And I would, if we do the round robin, I'm going to have to threaten to have Noah show us his train collection because I see a picture that suggests there's trains in there. Do I see trains?
Well, we were getting close to Christmas, so I thought I'd have that just kind of like as background. But I mean, I
Ah.
could fire them up and maybe not reohm them, hopefully not reohm them in front of everybody.
So, and then guys, I mean, or if people want to cut over them individually, I can keep this going. It's like I wouldn't mind seeing the trains. That's a bit. You got dual diversity. The helicopter's dual diversity with the
Yeah.
link provided by Santa, or we can stay on, and I can keep this rolling along.
I mean, we could go to AWA. Well, how long is the AWA? Will that be the rest of the meeting or?
I don't know,
It
Santa.
goes on for an hour. And Felicia Cruiser is talking about the DD1. I don't know whether she's going to fill the whole hour or not.
Okay. I mean, the trains aren't going anywhere,
Well,
literally. I mean,
it's completely up to you guys. If you want to, we can do a round robin. We can, wake. I threw a couple of possibilities. If we go to either DD1 or, Bob, we can even do the video from your most recent event because I've got that. I think I can
The
pull that.
Parsippany swap, I think
Yeah.
you said in the
oh yeah.
email.
So, so you guys want to stay on, or people, if anyone individually wants to drop off, no problem. Maybe I'll keep this running in parallel, and when we do a round robin and see what's going on. And of course, Santa, if you have to drop off, we completely understand because we know you're a busy man. You've got a lot of clubs and a lot of children to visit, and of course, some people. I'll raise my hand. Got to stop by and drop off something vintage my way. But if not, a drone is fine too. But
I'll keep you coming in my ride here while I do the AWA with the left. Going to be tricky.
uh,
It'll
I
just
know,
be dual
Sig.
diversity, that's all.
There
That's
we
it.
go. There you go. See, Santa emulates dual diversity. Anyway, well, hey, no, I could put you on the spot. You don't have to do it now, but if you wanted
Yeah,
to
okay. Well,
head over to
I mean,
your train set,
I have to walk up to the train set because I came back to my computer to watch Santa. So
well, that's very important that you see
only
Santa.
take me a second or two.
Okay, no problem. And since, hey, seeing trains in action, how could we not want to see it? And then we can drop in with everybody scattered throughout the world. And then we got, Carl out there, or at least was there a moment ago, uh, from New Zealand. I'm impressed. It's tomorrow too, which this should blow all our minds. Um, but yeah, so we'll get a little bit of train action, and we will go around. Oh. Meanwhile, I hope everybody is glad that the weather is finally moderating just a little bit. I've been a little sick of the wind. Honestly, it's the wind that's really annoying me to no end. We can't seem to get rid of it. I can deal with the cold and it's still, but man, I'll take a cloudy, still day. There he is. All right.
And
All
is
right.
there audio with this? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I
Okay.
can. And I got a
I
spotlight.
wish I had a couple of you guys to help me because there's a lot going on and trying to run a camera and all this. I think it'll be okay though because there's a number of things going on. There's anything from a little bit like a little trolley that goes back and forth through the town. That's going on.
Whoop. I think it might be breaking up a little bit there, Noah. Oh, I see another set running. Very nice. That's fine. We can't hear your audio now, Noah, just for what it's worth. But watching this, I'll also throw something in. Did any of you guys remember the Addams Family? And remember, Gomez had the train set in the room, and he'd have the trains going on the thing, and he had the
plunger.
How could
I
you
don't
not?
know if you noticed that or not, but the trains actually cross tracks over here. So I have to move the passenger train fast enough so that I don't hit the freight train like on the Adams Family.
That's what I was just gonna say. You can have the two just crash together. You see the smoke and the fire briefly, but you know, if you have a dynamite cap, Noah, people would love that. Well, that's pretty nice. You do have a pretty impressive setup here. Um, let's see here. I don't see anything moving right now, or
Then
maybe.
there's
Whoop. I think your audio is breaking up. You're probably a little bit marginal there, Noah, and
okay.
your internet.
How about if I move a little bit? That okay?
Sounds okay. I can hear you still. We can hear
Okay,
you.
there's one other thing that I want to try that when I was a little kid, I don't know if my audio is going to carry over here. There was one thing I always used to think about when I was a little kid of how cool it would be if I could actually take a ride on my own train set. And so what I tried to do was to rig up a camera that I'm going to have to connect up.
Whoop. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Let's see.
Okay, you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just trying to hook up a camera because what I'm going to have to do is power up something that I hope will actually work.
And I think everybody's watching and looking all around all the cool things Noah has in his garage activity room. Right. So your audio is a little bit it's breaking up there, Noah.
For a second.
Oops. You're pretty marginal there, Noah. And that
So I see the screen.
Oh, uh-oh. Oh, there he is. Let me re-highlight.
I put a screen up so that I could basically, if I do this correctly, if I can hold the camera and
Whoops. You got serious audio break up there, Noah. It's pretty funny. How it sounds. Whoop, now you froze. Uh-oh, now we can hear some voice.
Train
So,
set.
you back there, Noah? Uh-oh. I think we are hitting the bandwidth challenge. Let's see what we got here.
They're intermittent.
Yeah, you're very intermittent.
All right. Well, that's I work on. Do it again another time. But the point is, I can on this big screen in this big screen in my room, I can actually drive around my train setup and see what it looks like to be looking out the window of the train as it goes by.
That's pretty
But anyway,
cool.
move on to the next one, and I'll shut this stuff down, and I'll head back.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
easier.
cool.
It's easier to make it all. I need a couple extra hands to run all the different controls. But
Right.
other than that, it's fun.
That's
All
still
right.
pretty cool.
Hey.
Very impressive. Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, moving right along here. Hey, George, how are you? I see you there before in case you drop off or have to drop off early. How you doing? It's Christmas time. How's it up there in York, Maine?
Well, it's not doing too bad. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great. We can hear you great.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm on a headset, so I didn't know whether it would work with this. I'm on a laptop. No, I'm not. I'm on a tablet. Anyways, things going pretty well here. It was a pretty nice day. A little bit windy, but I actually hit 41 degrees up here, so that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Um, we're doing. Other than that, I I think last time I mentioned that Walton, I was going to try and roll up my sleeves on it. And I've actually got it planned. It's got a couple of issues, but at least now I know that all the transformers and all the IFs and everything are working. So
All right.
that's what's been going on with me at this point. And other than that, we're doing okay. I got my dog here. We're going through. He's going to training. We got a trainer we take him to, and we went on a nice long walk with someone. So Alaska Malamute, and right now I'll just see if I can. He's laying down. I don't know if you can see him or not.
Let's see here. They just think okay.
Marco, say hello.
Hi, Marco.
Oh,
Say hi.
Marco. What a cutie.
Yeah, it is. So 89 pounds, year and a half old. So
89. Wow.
Yep.
He's a bruiser.
Yep. He is, but he's a cutie too. So, anyways, so that's what's going on up here. Everything's okay. I've also been having fun on the amateur radio side. It's fairly new. Got my license, so I've been enjoying that stuff too. So we got the NEVEC stuff here, and then I got the amateur radio club thing, and all of a sudden it's like I got a lot of time. It's being chewed up.
Yeah, I bet. And a dog will take a lot of that, I'm sure.
Oh yes, he definitely does. So
excellent.
I'll pass it back and go on to the next round. Thanks, John.
Oh, good to see you, George. Thank you very much.
Yep.
But well, Bruce, we haven't seen you in a while. Glad to see you back there, and looks like everything is well in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, everything's going real well. And what I wanted to just share was the last time I checked in here several weeks ago was about the first time in a year and a half I had joined. And I had been off the air basically because we were completely redoing our basement. I have a brand new workshop. And to the people that were in on that meeting, I apologize because I didn't realize until I watched the recording afterwards just how abysmal my network connection was. I had tried to move the camera around and show things about my workshop, and I knew my screen was glitching a little bit. I didn't realize that it was totally unlistenable. So that set me off on a troubleshooting journey on my network. And I'll keep it really brief, but it turned out that number one, I had a really old internet to USB dongle on my laptop, which was capped at 10/100 megabits per second. Capped, it didn't really explain the horrendous performance I was getting, but that was one element. And then I went to my router and my network switch, and I found out that, or I rediscovered that my switch was a Netgear 10/100 switch that had been built in 1996 when Netgear was still part of Bay Networks. I got it from work when they upgraded to gigabit. Pulled it out of a dumpster, and the thing has been working flawlessly since I did that 20 years ago, but I just sort of forgot about it. So that was another limit on the performance that I should be getting. And there's another complication there. I've got a mesh network for wireless, and the mesh nodes talk to each other and coordinate through the hardwired network. So even if the mesh nodes could keep up with a high speed, they couldn't coordinate with each other, and that was making a real hit on the wireless. So I replaced that, and I figured that solved the problem. And I was getting 300 megabit per second upload and download performance after I swapped those out. So I was happy, and I walked away, and I hadn't come back down here for a few days. I logged back in, did a internet performance test, and I was back down to 7 or 10 megabits per second.
Huh.
What the hell is this? Well, it turns out that there is a known driver bug with some of the internet connections. And I have not had time to actually figure out which one it is, download it, and change the network. But I do have a reliable workaround, which is I power down and reboot everything. And now I'm at 300 megabits per second. But it was a comedy of errors and ancient hardware and software, which had just sort of changed, it sort of failed underneath me without me realizing it, because it hadn't failed catastrophically. So if you haven't checked your home network for a while, you may want to go through and see if there's pieces that maybe should be updated. But that's why it was so abysmal. That
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce.
Yo.
I was just going to say that I've just gotten to the point where I put a timer, and about 2:30 in the morning, it goes off for about 15 minutes and then powers back up. And that way I just don't have to worry about it. I just gave up trying to find the source.
Is that right? That's interesting. Because it's the reboot does it, and I just have to remember to do it. And it'll catch you by surprise sometimes. You think everything's working fine. You come back down 2 days later, it's gone to hell. So
well, even when you try things in advance, like this afternoon, I tried my little video demo of what it looked like to ride on my train set, and
yes,
it was all working terrific with a telephone in like photograph mode, but I wasn't trying to do it over the internet. And apparently, when I have the camera that's mounted, it's basically a drone camera that I mount on the train, so it has an RF signal that goes to a receiver that then goes to my projector, so I can show on the big screen what it would look like if I was a little bitty person inside the train going around the train setup. And it worked fine as a photo, but then when I introduced the internet, maybe there was RF interference between what the RF was doing on the video camera plus what the internet connection was doing. Plus, in order to get out to my train room from my house, I have an extender. Yep. So, I can't, the regular network in the house won't really reach that well to the garage, but it reaches the extender, and then the extender reaches to the phone or the video stream or whatever I'm looking at. But apparently between the RF signal from the video and the network extender and my trying to juggle a phone and a train set all at the same time, something was wires were crossed somewhere. So I apologize for that, but there'll be other chances.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
at least I didn't crash the trains. I almost hit the trains at one point at the crossover thing, because I was trying to look at the screen and figure out what was going on with the internet connection. And I was like, holy cow, those things are on the same track right there at that crossover. And I had to speed up the passenger train just to whisk it out of the way of the freight train as it came by. So,
hey, Noah, just to let you know, your cameras are still pointing down at your feet.
Oh, yep. Well, that's okay. My feet probably look better than my head at this point in time.
Well, I guess as long as we don't have smell-o-vision, we're okay.
Right.
Well, I did make it barely back in time after a nice. It's been a little bit gloomy here today, and it's only been like 64 and a little bit misty. So I got my walk in just before the Zoom meeting started, and we used to call it
for those of you in New England, we used to call it Worcestering. It's Worcestering out, and that's in the city of Worcester, Massachusetts. It won't be raining. It won't even be drizzling. But if you go for a 45-minute walk, when you come home, you'll be all wet. It's just like moisture hanging in the air. And so that's what it was doing this afternoon. There was no point in carrying an umbrella because nothing was falling down out of the sky. It was just like you were walking through a mist kind of thing, and so I came back looking sort of like a wet dog. But
So the city of Worcester is now a verb.
yes, it's Worcestering outside.
It's Worcestering outside. Oh, Bruce, one thing is a tip, with a lot of these devices too, a lot of these commodity devices, they probably are shipped with bugs and they're not that well maintained. In terms of, getting upgrades and things like that. You get what you get with some of this stuff. We certainly see that. Of course, being, in the broadband network world with service providers, I can't tell you how many times we've had to work around residential gateways, which is your device connecting to the internet that does non-compliant things per standard specs. So we've had to do that since the dawn of time, and we're always the ones having to fix the land. We used to myself and the customer support team, the technical support, we used to call it the land of misfit residential gateways, CPE devices, we call them, customer premise equipment.
Yep.
Because they're misfit, just like Rudolph. We get these misfit devices that we have to work around. Because you can't get those upgraded because there are millions of them out there, and and nobody's going to touch them. Nobody's developing. I mean, they hire very cheap labor to do what they does, and between the hardware and everything else, there are probably bugs, hardware limitations, interoperability, blah blah blah.
I had a very, very, very good career at Hewlett-Packard and then Agilent and then Keysight, working with the network equipment manufacturers and then working with the customer premise equipment manufacturers and working with the service providers because they all need test equipment because none of their crap works. And so I made many, many sales of test equipment over the decades.
Indeed. And as a final point, Bruce, you ought to consider in some of these devices, consider reOHMing them.
Yes.
There you go.
And instead of flux, use gasoline.
This is like right on the outside, like Uncle Fester.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, actually, you probably will look like him after you're done with the little explosion that happened right in front of you. Maybe a little singed and so forth. But anyway, it's good to see you back there, Bruce. Always glad to have you on. So let's turn ourselves to what's going on in Arizona, Rob.
Really nothing. My latest projects have been bird nest houses, and I just put up a end-fed wire antenna. I don't have it up and running yet, but the reason for the bird nests, it's nothing to do with this group, but every year I have birds nesting. Either in my front, there's places, where they can get in the back. The deck is rather large and they're all nesting in there, which was okay, except the big birds here knew they were there. So every spring I'd have to go out and there'd be dead birds and there'd be broken eggs. And I just said, this has got to stop. They've got to nest somewhere else because they know they're going to be killed here, whatever. So that's why I put bird nest boxes in a different place, in a secure location, all that. So anyways, that, and I started out thinking about putting up a long wire antenna for testing radios. So then I look at it position, and I have no trees or anything like that. So then as I thought about it, I thought, I don't have anything on 160. I don't have an antenna for 160 meter. So let's see, I could combine those two. And so my current antenna, I think with an antenna tuner, it'll do okay. I have the wire hung, but I have to come up with a balun for it. Well, actually, an un-un. I used the VNA to check the impedance, and it's like, oddly enough, it's 67 ohms. Is that weird or what? It just, I don't understand it. It's 67 ohms from about a megahertz all the way up to 50 meg. It goes 67, just a little bit up and down. Goes from, inductive to capacitive to inductive again, and it's, oh well, nothing of interest. So back to you.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Rob. There's some strange things going on out there, but
Yeah, I understand, your weather and all that. The sun was just kind of intense today, with a sweat t-shirt on, you get sunburns and all that.
huh. Well,
Ah,
what was it in the 50s there or 60s?
oh, higher than that. Yeah. Well, the air temp is like 60 or so, 65,
Yeah.
but then the sun is just so bright and there really wasn't much wind that don't need a coat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. But well, thank you, Rob.
sure.
So let's see here. Greg, how are things? Hope everything's okay.
Yeah, everything's good. It was a long day sitting in the hospital, but
Yeah.
he's back
Dad's
home again.
Dad's okay?
Yeah, he's doing good.
Good, good.
Got the stone out, so that's good. Otherwise, doing all right. It was a nice day here for a change. Got up to 41, which is better than what we've been having.
Yeah, I know. Just put a minus in front of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the wind chill in front of it. It's been brutal.
we had that too. So actually, after that, I had won a local auction. I got something I can show.
Yeah.
It's kind of radio related in a stretch. It's a
Ooh.
Oh,
Wow. That is cool.
1949, but the thing's like new.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
I think that's supposed to be a Nash Rambler.
It kind of does look like that, doesn't it? That is neat and in really nice shape.
Very cool.
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. Oh yeah, look at that. Is that the old comic thing? I love it, Greg. And it's the wind-up.
Yeah,
So, Greg, does it make any noise?
I haven't really tried it yet.
Oh,
I'm just cracking the wheels.
Oh yeah, you can hear that. Oh yeah. Wow, that is a really cool prize.
Local auction house had it, and I bid on it last night, and had to go pick it up after I got back from the hospital.
I wonder if
So
the light on top, whether that swivels back and forth, or is that fixed? Does it
it's
swivel with the?
I think it's battery powered though.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking, I wonder with when you wind it up, does it move back and forth, or just stay straight? Not that I'm having you demo anything, but
That's a good question. It might move. It feels like it should. I wonder if maybe it does wind around like that.
yeah, I wonder if it's sort of tied to the mechanism.
Yeah, could be.
That's cool. Wow, that's really, and that, you know what?
They're just so cool, you know.
It's got a light. It's vintage electronics to me.
Yeah. That radio show, Dick Tracy.
That is. I love it. I really love it. That I am a
11
little.
inches long too. It's pretty big.
That is cool. Congratulations. That's a kind of a nice little, like, almost like Christmas, unexpected Christmas gift.
It's better than a Zeppelin.
Well, no, Zeppelin, the Christmas story is pretty cool too. I don't, but but yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Well done. So, are there any more Wisconsin Antique Radio Club shows, or are you guys done for the
We're
year?
done until March.
All right. Well, then we'll definitely, that's when you'll be trolling the waters for more pickups.
Yeah, trying to play catch up in the meantime.
A lot of stuff in the queue.
A lot of stuff in the queue. Yeah.
All right. So I guess you go to RadioAg to see what you have posted up there. Trying to get something in for people to buy for their Christmas gifts.
Last minute Christmas presents, yeah.
All right. All right.
A little tight trying to get it there in time, but
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
yeah.
But I don't know, maybe something that, our, Santa over there can, help you out with. But cool. Well, great. Great. Thanks, Greg.
Sure.
I'm gonna call him back to see him roving about. Hey, Hugh, what you up to? Oh, 1 minute.
Got to get unmuted here. Things are going fine. Getting ready for the holidays. Um, so every Christmas, I would usually make a tray or two of baklava, and there's always a big draw at work and with neighbors and stuff like that. And then during COVID, where everyone was locked at home, I kind of went a little crazy and sent out like 50 packs of baklava all over the country.
Wow.
And somehow I haven't been able to work my way out of doing that, though. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a reduction, but I've been, hold on, I'll give you a view here. This is what a tray looks like.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
look at those beauties.
Let me hold on. Let me spotlight for everyone who sees it.
Really?
Look at that. There we go.
Hey.
Nice.
Oh, yeah,
Do we
yeah.
have taste-o-vision yet?
Taste
There
of
you
yeah.
go.
Hey,
Yeah, so-
do you need any address?
Yeah,
Mayor?
right. Yeah, come on over. Right. I need an opinion on it. That'd be great. So anyway, a couple of quick things. I talked a lot at the last meeting and showed those slides and stuff.
Oh, that was fun.
Thank you to Tom again for the reOHMing. That is hysterical. Very funny.
I love it.
Enjoyed that a lot. When people were talking about networking, so I worked at a startup company and they had this Ubiquity hardware. It's a company, and then you have a modem to get your cable or your fiber turned into an Ethernet plug at your house, and that's all usually pretty good. And then that plugs into this product they have called a Dream Machine. And I think they have them with power over Ethernet jacks now. And it's not zero money, but I would say for less than $1,000, you could get the Dream Machine and a couple of wireless access points and run a wire to those and never look back. That stuff is on at my house, it's on at my daughter's house, and it's on at my church. And it never turns off. It just works great. And it's got all kinds of crazy features in the interface. You can go look at every device on the network and see what they're accessing on the internet. So, you can see your phone is out there talking to Tom, Dick, and Harry of the underworld, or YouTube Kids. What do I have YouTube Kids going out and communicating for? So
Deep packet inspection feature, huh?
yeah, and it's got, lots of security stuff. It meshes automatically, the same network name. You could force a network to be 2.4, if you have a whatever heating blanket that only runs on 2.4 or something like that. So anyway, that's just a thought I had on the network side of things. Like I said, it's not zero money. Maybe the stuff is out there on eBay too. That's possible. But Ubiquity Dream Machine.
Ubiquity Dream Machine. Good to know.
That's the thing. I had a question for you radio guys. Somebody was talking about long wire antenna. So if I wanted to run one, from my chimney to a tree or something, but then get that down to the basement, figuring I've got all kinds of noisy electronics in the house, what would be appropriate coax to do something like that with? I didn't catch the 67 ohm thing a minute ago.
You would need some kind of a balance.
Yeah.
A balance, unbalanced, but I don't know if you want a dipole or you can get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
And actually, the one I found is only like $23, and it's a kit. It's not a built thing, and you can they come in like 1 to 9, 1 to 49. Basically, a lot of antennas, if it's high up, they're going to be maybe 2,000 ohm, and so you want to knock it down to 50 ohms. And so, the thing gives you instructions on how to build it the way you want it. And then I would just use RG58U, which is 50 ohm. But then again, if you know, I have to use 50 ohm because I'm going to share a coax from my bench out to the shed. I just got this MFJ deal here where you can have one antenna or one feed line coming in and two antennas, and it remotely switches them. And my existing feed line is 50 ohms, so I have to do that. But if you want to, you know, if you just have, sometimes you can pick up the 75 ohm coax from TV installations, and that'll work fine too.
Yeah.
If it's just a receiving antenna, you know, it's pretty wide open. The thing is, well, as soon as I added that idea of going to 160 meters and transmit, now you have to worry about SWR. If
Right.
the SWR is too high, it's going to you know, transmitter's not going to like it. But just
Sure.
for receiving, I think I would get an inexpensive, I guess it'd really be like mine. Coax is unbalanced, and head-fed wire is really unbalanced.
Yeah.
And you know, something off of Amazon or whatever, and then just bring the coax right down. And what I'm going to do is build another balun on the bottom to take the 50 ohm unbalanced and go to like 2K balanced, which is like probably what a lot of the real old receivers use. Their aerial input. I think from what I've read, it's around 2K, but that's, you know, I don't think it was all that well controlled back then. I think, you know, all they expect you to do is throw a piece of wire in the air and attach it to one terminal, you know.
Yeah.
So
No, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks. That's a really good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it's all. I hope it's right.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's not up there yet. I gotta get whatever. One of the plans is to put a TV antenna up there on top of the chimney too, so I can try and kiss the cable company goodbye at least part of it.
I kind of have to do. I did that already. I have, but it's in my attic.
Right.
And the CCRs for the property say no outside antenna and no outside TV antennas, but ham antennas are okay.
Yeah.
Some of these people, some of the rich guys have these humongous Yagis up there, but you can't have a TV antenna.
Yeah, that's a little silly. You could get in an argument about what frequency this antenna is good for. Yeah,
Well, what I was thinking of doing is putting up like a 2 meter vertical on top of a mast and have my TV antennas on that.
Yeah, there you go.
And they just say, no, it's a ham antenna.
Yeah. Good idea.
Funny. There you go.
Thank you. So I'm good.
Okay.
I'm in the kitchen fussing, so that's why my video's off. But
No, that's
watching
all right.
and listening. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. You know. Hey, Joe Devonshire. How are things getting ready for the holidays despite your
yeah, I know, John. Yeah. If you don't know, I'm kind of one-armed for a while. I have a distal bicep separation from the radius bone. It was about a month and a half ago. And I had the surgery and I'm all Humpty Dumpty's back together. It's going to take me until the beginning of February to get rid of this apparatus I have on my arm, and then another 4 weeks or so to get going. Yahoo!
Are you taking statins?
No.
No. Interesting. Because I blame statins for my separation.
No,
there's a lot of association between.
No, this was a physical movement, and they can't figure out how I did it, but I did it.
Okay.
So let's see now. You know, considering I can't do any radio work other than listen to it, what I've been dealing with is trying to keep my head above water with everything else that goes on. Namely, about 2 weeks ago, my wife's driving me down to the doctor's office, and there's a noise on the front of the car, and I quickly figured out it was the power steering. So we get back to the house, and I pop open the hood, and it looks like a root beer float on one side of the car. And what it was the air getting into the power steering pump, circulating it through the system, and then, of course, it ends up in the power steering reservoir. It's a Subaru, so you've got to
Yeah.
watch what O-rings you get. So I ordered a set of O-rings from the from Subaru. They should be here tomorrow, I hope. And it's just a matter of you pop
Thank
off
you,
the low
Felicia.
pressure side, put it on.
That was a great.
Well, no problem. Got it.
Okay, thanks. So it's just a matter of you pop off the low pressure side, you take the old O-ring off, put the new one on, put it back together.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I will
really?
have an assistant to do that job.
So you haven't cooked your pump, as you're saying.
No, I didn't cook the pump. And what it is we had temperatures really low at that time. This was Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, and it was -8 in the morning, and it didn't get above 10 for the day. And I think the extreme cold shrunk the O-ring down to the point where it just wasn't sealing. Car's 20 years old, so
Okay.
it's time to replace the O-ring and not the pump. So that problem's been squashed. And shortly before that, the faucet for my reverse osmosis uh, spigot uh, decided to go bad on me. So I had to change that out with one arm.
Ah,
But that's back up and running. It's all these little things that seem to creep up and hit you upside your head all at once.
not to mention you've to running with this somewhat handicapped, trying to
No,
fix things
no.
that.
As I mentioned to you, John, I've been using voice recognition software to generate emails.
Yeah.
That tends to be a real case of frustration incarnate. It'll work good some days, and other days it's just frustrating. Today I came up here about 4 o'clock. I had some emails to answer and some to write, and it literally took me 3 hours, no, 2.5 hours from the time I started to get about 3 or 4 emails out. One of them was one that you were copied on about something else this afternoon.
Oh, okay. I'll have to catch
So,
up. I haven't
you
done so
know,
yet.
and the problem is I've got this Philly accent. I don't have the Mid-Atlantic Cary Grant accent. So, trying to have the voice recognition software understand me is real frustrating. In fact, I tried to train the thing. You have to read all this text
Okay.
for a couple of hours before you can use it, and I did it twice just to make sure it would work. And no, it's still a problem. So
You just watch it. It has a Tourette syndrome mode too.
yeah, and never say delete, because once you say delete, it wants to just write delete after it and continuously. So backspace tends to work sometimes.
Yeah.
I can use the mouse. I can poke around with one hand. I can do that, but it just gets to be really tedious. And yeah, I'll deal with it. It's only another month and a half or so before I'm done with this. On the other side of the radio front, though, I've been doing some FM, early FM research, getting some things that can help me with this article I'm trying to put together about the Meisner that came out after the war. It's a Model 8C. I think you guys may have seen a picture of it
Yeah.
one time. And the one I have is the last of the production line. So there are some things about that that have no relevance to the early part of the production run in, I think, 47. So I want to, add in some things about that, some things about what they were doing in the early days of FM, probably from 1938, 39 in that timeline, and just move it forward. So, I have very little time to do that, though, because I have to be doing these exercises a couple of times a day. I have to be on the exercise bike, to do that. I get out and walk as much as I can to get out in the air, and then I have to put ice on the critter 3 times a day. So, you add all this time up, and you don't have a whole lot of time to do other things. And tonight's a break. I really enjoy this.
Oh, good.
So I'll turn it back to you, John, and see everybody in the new year.
All right. Well, it sounds like from what you said when you first joined is you maybe we'll see you at Castleton. There's a shot.
Yeah, I think there's a good 75%, maybe 80%. I won't know anything until the brace comes off, and I have to see how I respond to the exercises. So, we're looking probably Valentine's Day when I can make a real firm decision on what to do, but it's looking good.
Good. Well, keep getting better there, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
But well, thank you. Always good to have you there. So well, let's see here. Hey, Joe from Michigan, so we have Michigan represented. I forgot to call you out. How's it going out there? Warming up?
We were like 47 degrees today.
Wow. You should be out in t-shirt and shorts.
I lost the Carhartt and I wore a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
That was a relief.
Good.
And we just had last what was it? Wednesday, I think. Yeah, all the schools canceled. I don't know why they canceled the night before. Except for my kids' school that canceled at 5 in the morning. So we had, I don't know, it was like 2 inches of slush under this dusting of snow. And of course, they don't shovel the front half of the back half of the driveway. So luckily, that's all melting today.
Good.
And then we're getting the rain tomorrow, I think. And then it's going to crash Friday morning, and it's going to be like 20.
Oh, how much snow do you have by you now?
We never got more than a couple inches.
Oh, that's not bad. Mm-hmm.
I think maybe 6 inches was our top we've had. My parents are on the other side of the state on Lake Michigan, and the news report was they finally broke 3 foot of snow.
Ooh.
Like the first week of December. And that was like, because they had nothing at Thanksgiving. Well, a couple days before they had nothing, and now they got like 3 feet of snow.
Jeez, well, that'll ratchet up instant blizzard. Yikes!
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I got a technology question since this seems to be technology night.
Sure.
All right,
shoot.
So I've got a 12-year-old laptop, a Dell or something like that, running prehistoric Windows 10, and I don't even know what the phone was. It was a newer Galaxy, and I had to transfer off pictures and voice messages. Both happened to be about 16 gigs. Why did it take an hour and 45 minutes for the pictures, but only like a half hour for the audio? It was like 15, 16 gigs each. Isn't a gig?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Normally, now I maybe have to think a little bit about this because you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just transfer, but it's all the individual files. Now, of course, you probably have a slower hard drive on there, which will, of course, if you have a lot of photos. I don't know how many audio files you had compared to photos.
Like 4,000 photos and pushing 300 audio files.
Okay, so the ratio favors the photos. Well, I'll tell you, I have an older, still runs, probably from like, I don't know, it's probably around 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, a good 10-year-old HP laptop that is increasingly slow and trying to, when I got rid of moved all my files off to my Mac, it took a while. I'll tell you that I noticed discover how slow that hard drive is. Solid state drives are actually great. Hard, when you get off the old classic ones, you're like, wow, I don't miss that anymore. And that may be partly due to that age of the device. It's just the pulling it off the drive. Hugh, you want to say a few things?
I do. Question, was this as one file copy and like the first half went quickly and the second half was slow, or were they 2 separate file copies?
They were 2 separate.
2 separate, okay. Because also, did you click the thing so you could see how fast the transfer rate is? Yeah, I think you can click details.
Yeah, you can.
So on some computers. So that might be interesting. The other thing, Control-Alt-Delete, and look at the processes that are running. You could sort by disk usage and all that kind of stuff, and try and get an idea why it's dogging out.
Equal amount of gigs, and you figure a gig is a gig. It doesn't matter what it is.
Unless some program is like interested in
Yeah.
your music files and in there dicking around.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
who
that's
knows?
that
Or
is the
some,
that's the official term, Hugh.
or some background task is, try to back them up while you're doing it or something. So, all right, that's I'm done.
Sure. Joe, you want to
It's just
drive.
a quick question because the system I'm on, it's dying a slow, miserable death. I have to go and get something new. And maybe, this year's Christmas present, New Year's present, and who knows what. Doesn't matter. Since I have all the experts here, when it comes to transferring files, and I have an awful lot of stuff on this system to a new system, is there a patch cord that I should use, or do I need to put it on a flash drive and move things over to the new system that way?
Well, let's see here. Um, you can. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm sort of throwing this out there. Is I think you can sort of add your drive, like an external drive, to your new laptop. You can. I think you can do that. That I can see done. Now, then that's option A. Now I went from a Windows device to Mac and ended up using a flash drive. As it was, yeah, it took a while. It wasn't my favorite way to do it, but I was watching a 10-hour final IMSA race on TV. So I'm having it on background. I'm doing all this mechanical stuff with transfer, upload. And of course, the OS is, and I was getting used to my current Mac Air. And so what's so easy from Windows to Windows, because you're used to the way Windows is laid out and so forth, it seems you're just used to it. But I decided to cut over to Apple, so I had kind of the double whammy of getting used to how I distribute my photos versus my files, and you fumble around a little bit to try it right. So I ended up doing that, which took a good part of probably at least 3 or 4 hours. But I had time to spare watching the race while I'm doing this, so I came to terms with that.
The switching from Windows to Mac is a pain in the neck. It's
It
just
is.
different enough
Yeah.
in file manipulation and stuff. It makes
Exactly.
I'm going Windows to Windows, and I'm going to buy something probably new off the rack.
I think an external hard drive, move your stuff onto an external hard drive. They're not that much money,
Yeah.
terabyte or something. Run it at night. Who cares if it's slow?
Yeah.
And you'll have a backup copy of your stuff too, in case something untoward happens to one of your machines. So you could do it over the network too. It's just that it could give you some fits trying to get two computers to talk to each other, but that's possible to do
I
too.
have a
To share.
USB. I could just plug from the old system into the new one.
Yeah, but well, I mean, just use the wire. What they're both on the same network. You could just go to the drive of the other computer.
Okay.
File Explorer.
Great advice. Thank you.
But not always for the faint of heart doing that, is that's all I'm going to say. Because I don't do it very well either.
As long as I don't screw up the operating system, the world will be fine.
Right. Exactly. But our hunch, Joe, is that, would be probably your hard drive is probably coupled with whatever may be running your system, maybe just slowing it down. And I have certainly seen my HP as it ages being going a lot slower, and the hard drive should be moving at the same rate, but there's just so much that the system as it ages in terms of all the software and all the other stuff just burdens it, that it just seems painful. So that's why I'm glad while it's still there, I think it's a lot of searching and grabbing from the hard drive that puts a lot of CPU load, and it does take a while. It's probably your system saying, yeah, it's time to put the black sheet over me.
Yeah, I'm due for a new one. But I got the thing when I started college, and
wow.
So yeah, it's 13, 14 years old.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all, considering it's a commodity. A lot of these window machines, especially when you're in the low, the mid to lower end, they're almost commodities. Once they're done, you just move on to the next one. There's no real hope.
Oh yeah, everything. Everybody uses a phone nowadays for everything. And when I got a work laptop, it's like, oh, I got to go on the internet do this. It's like use that. So
Yeah. You know, my rationale, because I thought long and hard when I replaced my Windows machine. I thought long and hard about just sticking with another Windows machine for familiarity reasons. But you know, when I got my iPad, I was just, you know, really once I used it, I really was so impressed how well it ran, and also. Like my wife has had an iPad as well for a while, and you can, you know, you feel like, you know, it's 7 or 8 years old, it's still keeping up. You know, it's not dying that slow death that is unable to process, unable to keep up, and so forth. So, you know, and I got her a Mac Air about I don't know 3 or 4 years ago because I could tell she was struggling with her iPad to do everything. I said, you just really need a little bit more muscle there, and also a real keyboard, even though she had a keyboard. But so I got it, and she just loves it. So, you know, when I used hers a little bit and played around with it, I said, you know what? I'm going to take the plunge because I'm counting on something that will run very flawlessly for, you know, and keep up, you know, performance wise. For I want something that will last at least 7 years, 7 to 8 years, and you know, not you know, to the point where I'm really frustrated by its performance because it's so slow. So far so good. Now this one's only just a year, and oh, Frank, sorry, I was going to call you on you, but I guess we'll have to let you go there. But thanks for attending. Um, but so that was my rationale, and so far so good. No complaints, but and it's a nice well, you know, you have to get used to. I realized I probably didn't organize things as cleanly as I should have because I was sort of trying to figure out what's the way to like, especially the photo side of things. It's not typical between albums and folders and everything else, and so I sort of started figuring out how the way it really the environment is. So it's a little bit of a learning process, whereas Windows is sort of more mechanical and more, again, because I've been using it all these years and it's become sort of, you know, you're just used to it and it seems straightforward. But, you know, the Apple is a really fine product. So, you know, I can't complain. What are you gonna say no over there? Oh, you're giving an agreement there? Well, you're on mute there. You have to unmute you there, Noah. Well, now you. Hey, Noah, you're still muted. Nope, can't hear you. But you'll have to sign us.
I keep on clicking and it wouldn't do anything, and it finally did. I wanted to share a quick piece of old hardware that maybe Bob and Greg and you and maybe a couple of others.
Sure.
Since we're talking old hardware. See if I can figure out how to do this.
Old hardware.
Let's see if I share and I say that, and then I share.
I'm going to see a floppy drive. Ah, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Now there, fins and all. Put the hood up.
New exhaust.
Ah.
New exhaust system. First new exhaust system in 64 years.
Wow. Look at that with the 413 with all those RAM 413 RAM. That's nice. Oh yeah, so I see it. Now is that where the standard out where they came out on the underneath
It's
the
where
car?
they came out, but they usually have like a sort of a 45-degree angle slice.
Right.
Just a little slice that I haven't gotten under there with my little cutoff wheel to kind of shape that because
right.
You know, they just use regular pipes to get it on there. So they give you a little bit extra so that if you're doing your slice backwards, you know, they're at the right angle. They shouldn't really have this little bottom lip here as much. It should be
right
back a bit.
Got it. So that'll be one of your.
But it sounds good. It doesn't leak, and it's very symmetrical. And I was happy the way it turned out.
How's it running with the freshened up heads?
Great. I mean, you could tell from, you know, listening to this. I mean, this was an initial startup after the system got installed, so it's up a notch or so on the fast idle. So it's not, you know, it's idling a little faster than normal, but it's just purring. I mean, you can see when you know,
Yep,
it's just
good.
nice and smooth, and everything is hitting, everything is just right. You get around to the front, you see the engine is just motionless. There's no rocking or or anything like there was before. I almost want to do the old Packard trick where you put the glass of water on top of the air
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's motionless, so it's very happy with the new heads.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I have a slightly more modern question that doesn't have anything to do with cars. Is anybody left on the call that might have some experience with solid state power audio amplifiers? If not,
there's a little bit of
little bit.
So I have two of them, but I have one in particular, a Crown DC 300. It's
those things.
150 watts of channel into 8
Yeah.
ohms.
Very high quality, 300 ohms, nice and very nice amp.
Yeah. Well, one of mine is misbehaving. It seems to be protecting itself on occasion. There's no hum. There's no power supply hum. I don't suspect any filter caps. There's no distortion in the audio, but it's running warm, and I don't do silly things and crank the heck out of it anymore. I just kind of listen at a moderate volume. I'm not going crazy with it. And I could use it for weeks with no issues. And then one day I'll be listening to it, and all of a sudden there'll be no sound. The sound will just go away for about 2 minutes because it's like in thermal shutdown until it cools off a little bit, and then it turns itself back on again. And I can feel some warmth on the front panel. Like I say, there's no hum, so I don't really suspect filter caps in the power supplies, and there's no distortion, there's no oscillation. It's just, for whatever reason, it decides to heat up. I don't know, maybe rectifiers, but I don't know.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
One thing that I have now that it's I'm calling it a flip tool, because I've been using that to flip between working on cars and then electronics, is one of them stupid. I have one of these uber cheap Harbor Freight thermal guns.
Yeah.
Just shoot it at components.
Mm.
And then kind of work it from there. You might have some component that's overheating, that's throwing the world off.
Yeah. Which I would think,
that's
if
why
anything,
I've been using for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. I just have to, open it up a bit, take a lot of things apart to be able to hit all the output transistors are easy to aim at, and the front panel, I can feel with my hand. It's kind of like behind the power switch, which is right in the middle of the front panel.
Mm-hmm.
It's got power supply fuses. It's got audio output fuses. It's not blowing any fuses. Like I say, it sounds fine. There's no hum. There's no distortion.
I bought it to troubleshoot my wagon. I actually had a stuck thermostat for a while. And then I remedied that, but I end up using this thing now for old radios. And,
yeah, no, that makes sense. I used to do a similar thing.
It's actually kind of a handy troubleshooting tool.
Yeah, okay, I'll give that a shot.
Good the idea. Other thing that we did a lot for doing some troubleshooting was going the other direction. That when it fails, to hit it with some freeze spray.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Freeze, yeah.
Instant chill.
Stuff. And because you could even just have a bad solder joint or something like that, or what do you call it? So anyways, just lots of things there that can go, that if it's just going off and coming on, it's temperature related,
I've even seen traces get weird.
Exactly.
And the hardest part, of course, is because it's intermittent. I could use it for weeks without this happening, and then all of a sudden one day I'll be using it.
Sometimes you'll get like a crack on a board, and the trace works most of the time, but
at
some point you get a temperature change or whatever, and you lose that connection.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just throw my 2 cents in.
I'm looking at the manual on the internet, and there are a whole bunch of little protective thingies that might be triggering too.
Right. Yeah, I haven't tried to dive into it yet. It's getting to be enough of an annoyance that, I mean, luckily I have another Crown DC 300A, so I was just going to swap it in and then start looking at that.
I had a TV set that was doing that years ago, and what it turned out to be was there were power resistors that actually had a heat sink with them, and when the board went through flow solder, there was just like a wire and a little cap of solder, and it was in there arcing away. Yeah, well, somebody told me about this on that old TV. You just look at all the heat sunk components and reheat every one of the connections to make sure they're all good. That did it. Might be, never know.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you.
Gotta love them fins, though. That's just so outrageous.
Oh, yeah. Good old Virgil Exner.
Yes.
Last year, they chopped them off in 62.
Yeah, it was quite a difference.
That's why I got excited. I was at that car show with my car, and I found that 61 wagon. And I had to take pictures of that for you, because I knew you'd love it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, put that
All
away.
right. So let's see here. Oh, okay, thanks. Let's see. So let's see who I haven't called here. So, I think Paul said he's leaving. I was going to call on Paul. I could call on him.
I haven't left just yet, but
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
Well, I'll let you jump in for a moment before you sign off. And greetings to New Jersey.
Thanks. Good to see everybody. I've been at it since 3:30 this morning, so I'm fading fast.
Wow. I tip my hat to you.
Yeah, I got a couple long days every week, and today was a lot of running around, so I'm kind of winding down. But it's good to see everybody, and thanks for the entertainment, folks. There's some pretty amusing stuff. Great. And we will wish everybody the best of the holiday season. Stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll catch you all soon.
Great. Thank you, Paul.
Folks. Yeah.
And ditto to Isaiah, who's dropping out as well. Have a great night. And thank you, Isaiah. Always good to see you. So let's see here. Who haven't I covered you? Well, Bob, geez, you're right there staring right in front of me there. Bob, what's going on out there in Jersey?
I just, today it was 48 degrees, so it was kind of weird. I was expecting to see cats fight over a thawing bird stuck in a frozen bird bath, but didn't happen. Like I said, I went to my doctor today, and things went really, really well. As far as what's happening in my world, we had the New Jersey Antique Radio Club holiday party Saturday night, and I was there with wifey, and I did post on my YouTube channel the gift exchange game.
Okay.
Which always is kind of funny, and I always try to throw something nice in there, just to watch people fight over stuff. So that was kind of cool. So I won't give it away. I'll let you watch the video if you haven't already, and we'll see what the things were. But there was an item that I actually transferred to 6 different people.
Okay, so
I was the person that caused that to happen. So
that was you. All right.
Now that was a whole lot of fun.
Now it's going to the free table, right?
No, not this radio. No, it was a nice radio that I put in there. And it actually tied with I actually put this is a long time ago. I would say 12, 13 years ago. I did I think it was a A or B 600 transoceanic. I restored the whole thing, and that went to 6 different people. So that was just this tied for that. And coming on the drive home, it started to snow, and Sunday morning we woke up to 5 inches here. So
you got 5 inches. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I earlier, I guess it was in October, I took my snow thrower apart and I bought a bunch of parts for it, and made sure it was all good. Changed the oil in the motor. I changed the scraper blade and did some other odds and ends. So I was ready for it. It worked well. It was great. So I went out there and did that, and my wife did the stuff that the machine couldn't do and just did stuff by hand. So between the two of us, we had it done in little over an hour. So I have a 110-foot driveway.
Oh, that'll do it. That's healthy.
Yes. So that went rather well. So
Wow, 5 inches. Yeah, we got maybe, I don't know, half an inch, maybe. It was a thick coating. I would call a half an inch up by us.
it's really odd, because it's either feast or famine over here. Like it's weird. Like you go out to Pennsylvania, you drive an hour away. Like we're driving to Pennsylvania tomorrow to get my wife likes this one store. We go once a month. So I'll be driving out there tomorrow morning, but sometimes they'll have 6 inches and we'll have dust. And you're a little over an hour away from that. So it's just really odd. So other than that, I've just been diddling around in my basement when it's not too cold down there. When you mentioned, John, about the wind, I have a 100-year-old house. So when it gets windy out, the basement gets really cold.
Yeah.
And I either have to dress up like an Eskimo, or run the heck out of the soldering iron, start, doing point-to-point wiring.
Yeah, you're going like this on the soldering iron. Yeah.
So I haven't been spending a lot of time down there. I actually got in the gift exchange game, I got a radio that didn't work. So I actually spent the last couple of days making it work, and I just got that done. There'll be a video for that too. So other than that,
Just on those cold times, you just have to turn on all your radios down there, and then you won't have a problem.
Yeah, it's really funny because by my bed I actually have an AA5. It's a GT AA5 Zenith, and I don't have I got to fix the plastic. Yeah, the plastic is cracked on that radio, so but I can't do that unless it's warmer out. I got to fix the crack and then do the paint job on and everything. So I have that next to the bed, and that's actually setting off some heat.
There you go.
There's no tube shields on that radio, so everything is exposed to the elements, and it helps to keep the room warm. So that's really it here. It's so I'm kind of looking forward to the holidays. I like Christmas and New Year's, so it'll be nice.
Awesome. Wow, that's great.
Oh, and last thing too.
Yeah,
we were talking about computers. I like right now you're watching on a 2015 MacBook Pro. I have 4 computers in the house. My wife's got a Mac downstairs that's got like a 23-inch screen or 23-inch monitor. It's big.
Healthy.
It was meant to do graphics and stuff that she was doing. But I also have a 2008 MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
This is a 2015, and they still run. I had to blow the 2008 one apart and do a battery, and the touchpad was going bad on it. And that's the one I used to watch. I like electronic schematics instead of having a house full of SAMs or something like that, and it would take up a lot of room. I just downloaded a schematic. I put it on my old MacBook, and I keep that by my bench and use the schematics for that. And then not one of the nice things about Mac is you can take the mouse pad and you can blow things up or shrink from the mouse pad real quick. But I do have one PC that's about 12 years old. I had a processor or a board issue, and my buddy's daughter's husband, who's really good at working on computers, I never really did that, and he found a board for me. And I have solid state drives on all my machines, and I have a couple external hard drives. I have a 3 terabyte hard drive that was given to me a couple of years ago, and that was kind of generous. Those things are a couple of bucks.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And I use that for all my old radio programs. And that didn't even fill the 3 terabytes. That was probably maybe a little over a terabyte, all my old radio programs. So spinning drives are, they're right up there with I don't know, to me they're like used condoms, or just get rid of it. Just get a solid state drive and be happy,
Yeah, no, but once you go to solid state, it's hard to want to go back.
Yeah, it's really the way to go.
Yeah. Cool.
That's something I wish I should have taken the time to try to learn it, but I didn't. So I rely on other people. Like my wife is real good at that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking about getting another MacBook Pro and upgrading this one, and then making this my shop computer. But I
Right.
love the Mac stuff. My wife kind of converted me a little bit, but I still like my PC as well. So it
Yeah. I mean, you
doesn't
know,
really matter.
I mean, fortunately, like, yeah, like, for my work laptop is a Windows machine. So I'm running Windows 11. So I still dabble in the Windows world. So I still, can keep, you know, but I learn any evolutionary changes with the Windows operating system. And of course, I'm still getting used to, the Apple OS. There's always like new things that I knew to do in my sleep on Windows. I actually, once I learned, I remember, but sometimes like, oh shoot, how do you do this? I have to do a Google to determine, hey, how do I do this? Oh, okay, fine. Once I remember, I'm okay. But it is still a learning experience. But you know what? It's like this is the machine I use my personal device. I have a Mac Air 15-inch, and it's a terrific device. I mean, it really is nicely
I've
done.
heard nothing but people that have the MacBook Airs and those and the pads, just they love them. They're
Yeah,
just,
they
I've
get
never had one. I've just had the two MacBook Pros, and my wife's got her machine. Though she's on her third Mac machine because she likes to update them when available. But they're great machines. I can't complain.
yeah,
You know,
definitely. Well, thank you, Bob. Always good to see you.
it's
Well,
good
I
to be
guess
seen.
indeed. So I guess it kind of just leaves me, and I'll have a few things I can I
What's
can
up with
say.
you, John? Come on,
Yeah.
I never hear you talk what's going on in John's world too often.
It's always been hectic. It's a mad rush at the end of the year at work. So there's always, projects or things trying to get in some sort of state before we're going to I now work for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. We were acquired back in November. I might have mentioned that. So now I work for HPE, and they have a shutdown that runs between the 23rd through January 1st. So, and on top of it, I'll be off some additional time. So I'm gone as of this coming Friday. I'm not back till after the new year. So it's all the stuff I'm kind of trying to deal with. I'm like, oh, and I'll spare you guys all some of the stuff I'm having to grapple with. But some of it is their processes are so much different than what we're used to, and they're much more intensive. So it's just trying to do things. I'm still getting used to it, but and I'm really trying to get it done before year's end. So it's a little, not the way I want to end it, but it's just a little bit maddening.
So
But
there's kind of interject and ask. So basically, what the projects you're working on at your job now now that it's getting close to the end of the year, everything's got to come to
everything,
fruition now.
yeah, a lot of things are quieting down, but I just like to try to get, some of my ongoing stuff in some sort of state, there's some reasonable state before I sort of say, okay, I see you in 2 weeks. That I either people need input from me or whatever, and it's sort of a losing battle, um, but we try and get these things done. But it's just a little bit busy these days. But then otherwise try to get ready for the holidays. And I'll show a few things, a couple of random things I'll share. One of which is stay tuned for the next Raven, because Bruce Phillips, I made a Google Drive for him, and he uploaded a bunch of photos of vintage electronics he'll make available. So there's some really good stuff on there. Anyone who knows Bruce Phillips stuff he sells or his collection, he has like some awesome pieces, rare and stuff. He'll say, I saw a few things. I said, huh, I don't remember ever seeing one of those ever. So, if you get a chance to look at the link. If not, I can go through the photos. I'll leave it on the drive. They'll be on there until after Castleton. Once Castleton's done, I'll rip the album off, and Joe's going to be publishing that. Joe is doing his fine job as Raven editor, despite having to do this with one arm. But you know what? This the show must go on.
At least my arm is not tied behind my back.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned for that. Because but we will get a chance maybe to talk about those photos, maybe because maybe it'll even get some excitement and talk. Maybe people want to buy some stuff from him, but that's going on. I've got this. I got this little toy I bought for $8. Let me just bring it closer. I bought this FM transmitter. It's FM stereo. So it's this little device. It's made by a company called TuneIn. Um, so I happened to be on Amazon. I was getting something, and you can see it's basically an FM transmitter, FCC compliant, and with a 3.5 millimeter RCA jack to plug into any device that accepts it. It's like um, like a headset, earphone output, like my Fire tablets have. So I thought, I got a couple of radios which either have either non-stereo or may not have it may be just difficult to go get back there and get a some sort of connection back there with whether it's a 5-pin DIN or whatever. So I decided it was $8. And I said, we gotta go try it. So I tried it. Because I have a Panasonic F4 boombox I bought brand new in Christmas 1984. I got money for Christmas and I still have it. And I said, let me just stream it and see what it does. And you know what? It works pretty darn good. It gives you, okay, so what it gives you is 20 channels to choose from. It goes at 80, it goes 88, 90, 106, and 107. And it gives you, of those main frequencies, it gives the dot 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, essentially the odd numbers. So I basically just checked the radio station locator in Boston just to make sure that I didn't pick a overlapping station. I chose on the lower band. I think I chose 88.3 or so, or 5 is what I chose.
They're usually low power college stations anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to hit, where we are. I'm about, as the crow flies, probably about 20 miles directly west of Boston or so, 22 or so. So I tried it. You know what? On my Panasonic, we're pretty darn good. It's stereo, it sounded good and very faithful. So then I went over.
What's the price of admission for that?
It was like $8, maybe 9 tops.
That's a no-brainer.
It's battery powered. So it just takes a couple of AAAs, put it in, it's got a little on button, and you basically are controlling, the strength by the volume on your output device, be your Fire tablet or something. Let's see, let me give it a try. I was just curious, I was getting something anyway, and I was thinking about it in the background. So I said, it got decent reviews, and with the intent was, for people who are like maybe driving in their car, just hey, AM, FM stereo, and they don't hear much on, that they're enjoying. You just can create your own little, you can stream and your car radio can pick it up. You can tune it in your car and have whatever you want to hear. So that's the theory behind it. But I said, well, you can obviously have applications to our, hobby. So I tried that then on my Telefunken Operetta 105, which is a stereo. And that worked pretty nicely. Like the sound was good, it had good bass. So I was pretty happy. But what I did find, and I'm curious to see what you guys think, is so I tried it. I have a Telefunken Concerto 9U, which is mono. Okay, but it's the Germans, they come up with some clever ways to make a mono sound like stereo. But that being said, I tried it. I was disappointed. It felt like I lost. Now, this is transmitting as trying to do as stereo. Now, that's what happens on the airwaves. Yet, I felt like the bass was heavily cut from the reception. Like it had good, treble, the higher end, but not the bass side was muted heavily. And I was like, huh. So I went over and tried it on another Telefunken mono as well. And I still got the same results. I was kind of like trying to debate in my mind, how is that possible? Oh, Hugh has.
You're going to tell us. You figured it out?
Not yet, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I think it sounds like one side's out of phase.
Yeah.
Somehow, and then how they did that in this commercial product is weird. But you could, oscilloscope it, feed a tone into one channel, and look at what comes out of the radio, and feed it into the other channel, and look what comes out of the radio, and see if they're in phase. The old 2-channel scope there.
Yeah.
Something like that. It'd be a little strange if they had that problem.
But
I have a friend that was putting a sort of a whole house amplifier thing in, and he had some subwoofer that wanted signal from both things, and it just sounded like crap. And I went there, and they twisted which were the plus and minus jacks as you went across the back panel. So we had it across the two, the two pluses or something. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Though, and I'm glad I got some sort of feedback. So I'm thinking, so there's something about this because this is not, the airwaves has FM stereo as we speak today as it's being transmitted. And these radios cope with it just fine with good bass and so forth. Now this is made in Vietnam. It's actually not made in China.
Something the matter with the shield too. If it's not really ground and it's bouncing around with the bass somehow.
Maybe because I was just like. I mean, I like it. What's interesting though with stereo. If I'm going to a stereo device, it seemed great. Like, the first telephone I tried is a stereo device, FM stereo as well. And it was good bass, good sound. I was like, oh, hey, you know what? This is pretty darn good. But what I was surprised with a mono device trying to cope with this whole different story. And I'm like, I don't get this. Is really curious. So I said, this is an interesting little tidbit that I'd share with you guys. I mean, for $8, $9, I'm not, breaking up in tears because I can still use it for, at least for the stereo ones, but it is curious. So I thought I'd share this little tidbit.
I've got an old iPod I'd like to try that on, and I think I'm going to do it. I kind of like Hugh's ideas. Well, I've got a good dual trace scope. I'd like to see that waveform just for those myself.
Yeah.
So
that's a good.
You said it's on Amazon?
Yeah, it was on Amazon. This was
okay.
I was getting something, and I was looking for an FM. I was just thinking about getting an FM transmitter, so I did a quick look, and I said, "Hey, look at this! It got pretty good reviews, and it's like $8 or $9." I said, "You know what? This is a cheap money to try. The worst thing will happen is the piece of junk." I'm like, "All right, fine. That's not the end of the world." And I gave it a shot, and actually, I'm moderately happy. I'm seeing some of its limitations. I'm not sure, I haven't done much. I did a quick test. I spent all of about half hour on it. I wanted to try some more, characterization to understand whether this is a complete issue on all mono or what's going on. But it was just weird.
Yeah.
But you know what? Still, I can still use it.
What's it called? I haven't bought anything on Amazon today. I'm having withdrawal, so.
Oh wow! It's called the tune-in. It's a tune-in FM transmitter. It's called the FMT1 for FMT6. No, try again. FMT6. Sorry, Hugh.
Okay.
And I think it was like $9.
All right.
Maybe 8. I got to think of my, but and it all has is a 3.5 millimeter RCA jack to plug in, and you're golden. It's just a transmitter. And it doesn't.
FMT1 or FMT6?
FMT6.
Okay.
So so it was quite reasonably priced. And look at the size. I mean, it's barely the size of two of the batteries that sit in his case. Maybe at a third. And it's very easy to use because there's this little button here, right in the center that to select across here. I can actually turn it on because it actually lights up. You can see it's lit up, and you just go across the frequencies, and and you can just go across and select the frequency you want, and you're good to go. It's just a little slider on or off. It's about as easy a user interface as you'll find. And so, you know what? If you got something that's, at least I could say this, for my very limited testing, if you got an FM stereo thing and you want to try streaming with it, you're not going to be too disappointed. You'll be pretty happy, and it's pretty good faithful reproduction of the music you're streaming. With mono, the jury's out. So it's my little toy. Yeah, what's up, Hugh?
One other thing, if you have a mono switch on the transmitting side and or the receiving side, you might try pushing those, when you're doing stereo and see what happens.
Right. Unfortunately, this doesn't have it, and my receiver is mono, no matter whether I like it or not, because it's a pre-stereo. It's
but when you were playing with a stereo, what I'm saying with stereo, transmit with stereo, receive in stereo.
Yeah.
But then try setting mono on either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll try that. Yes, actually, I can try that. My boombox has some FM mono switch. I'll try that. Good suggestion. I'll go report back in.
I'm not sure what it's going to tell us, but it's at least something to try.
Yeah, well, I wonder if I see if I lose the faithful, especially if I lose the lower end because I felt like, wow, I was not getting much in the way of bass. I'm like, well, that's strange. Why would I get that?
Right.
But I didn't have a lot of time to further characterize. So I was like, all right, well, that's curious.
I
But
was just thinking for the car because we have two Toyotas and they both have a USB port like in the console. So I've burnt like sticks so that my wife can listen to her music and I've got a stick in my car. But like today when I went to the doctor, I started up my car and the display will show whether it's showing a stick in USB port or not. And it wasn't there, even though it was in there. And I opened up the console, I grabbed the USB stick, and it's ice cold. So it's like, oh, that's why nobody's home. The thing can't read it. But
yeah,
if it was something like that, I could probably take my iPod. I have a 1 gig iPod, play all my music.
yeah,
I could do that in my 67 wagon because I have an FM radio mounted underneath the dash. So I
yeah,
can do that. So that'd be
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, Joe in Michigan, good. Oh no, wait, wrong Joe. Sorry, that's Joe Devonshire.
Main Joe.
Yeah, main Joe. I just realized that because I see Joe from Michigan still there. I didn't look hard enough. I looked at the chat. Ugh.
Yeah,
But
we're boring people to death now.
no, 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 no. Actually, yeah, we're almost wrapped up. But I will leave a couple. I'll wrap this up with a couple of quick photos to share because they are of the 'tis the season. So let me just make sure I got the pictures up correctly. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I had it just a moment ago. Two, 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 two. Ah, here we go. Okay, now I can share.
Oh, the very first test truck.
Indeed.
I had one of them when I was a kid and I beat the snot out of it. I should have kept it.
I've had it since I was a kid, and
You did it justice. You took care of it and saved the box.
Yeah, and even the lights, I just happened to check recently. The lights still work. You can see they are on. This is 1964. Now my parents held this a bit because I was too young. They wanted to make sure I was old enough. But I did play with this a lot because I need to get a hose because the hose I lost. You can get those on eBay, get parts, but it is the very first Hess truck, so it's sentimental value to me. The headlight, taillight still work, and it's Hess. And so it's really a cool little toy. And let's see here. I just have a couple more photos. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. That's me with Santa, by the way. I didn't really intend to show that photo, but that is a longtime friend who I still connected with on Facebook. She lives in Florida, Cocoa Beach, near where they launch all the rockets, and that's one of my buddy's mother. So that's me as a little kid. This is like second grade or so, but I didn't really intend to show that. But since it's in the deck, you see me in my little there we go. Hanging up the tree.
Look at that.
That came from that was given to some of the consoles. They sometimes would have it connected to the unit before they went out before I left the store. So I have a Telefunken little ornament, and that's nothing. This is my second oldest one. This is from 71. It's a fire truck. And all they did was the light turned. That was it. And I still have it, but the motor stopped working on the light. Or it's a battery. There's a physical connection, wiring problem. But at any rate, it's a little vintage electronics. Only limited lights, nothing too exciting. But maybe need to be reowned. But
No,
but
nostalgia's a good thing. Well, some of those trains that I showed you earlier, I was
yeah.
-3 months old when I got those trains.
Wow, your
My
parents
my
knew you're going to be a train guy.
my mom was pregnant, 6 months pregnant, and my dad was convinced he was going to have a son, and that son was going to have a train set. So he bought the starter kit from that Lionel train set, the ZW transformer and the GG1 engine, and had like
Nice.
5 cars. And so I still have that. Obviously, I've added on to it over the years, but I still have the original pieces from basically January of 1955.
Wow, that's cool.
So I understand the first toy syndrome there.
Yeah. Well, I went, there's certain things plus, honestly, those early toys. I mean, the newer Hess trucks are cool and blah blah blah. They have lots of bells and whistles and so forth, quite literally and figuratively. But the simplicity, I loved that Hess truck and I loved the ones I had when I was given as kid. I have a couple others. I just didn't take photos of them that are still in really solid shape. But then I collected a few by just getting them at the gas station or whatever. But I'm probably gonna get rid of them. They're nothing special. They're in great shape, but because I just opened it up once, looked at it, and said, "Okay, close it up," and that was it.
But they're not. They're those more modern ones aren't as
Yeah,
cool as that
yeah, the
early
'90s.
stuff.
Yeah, the early stuff is just that cool, especially the first one. And plus they were faithful to the actual real thing. That's was really what made it special. Um, but at any rate, I think it's the witching hour. What I
Right.
want to do is I will raise the glass. I kept the one beer for you guys. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all the best for 2026. We will see you guys. Now, I can do I might be able to do an off topic Zoom between Christmas and New Year's if you guys are interested. I'll send the questionnaire out that week, see if you guys are interested. Um, but if we don't get a lot of takers or which I completely understand, we'll pick this up. I'll set up the Zoom schedule for probably between the holidays. I'll probably be working on the calendar and I'll get the dates on our website and we'll pick this up where we left off.
All
So
right. Maybe we
so
can show what we got for Christmas.
yeah, exactly. But hey, if any of you guys get one of these, by the way, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well. Just curious on the results. But anyway, again, it's a low impact on your wallet. So, but anyway, take care.
Great.
Have a great
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy New
Christmas,
Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Or
Bye.
whoever
Take care,
All right.
Santa. Good to see you as always.
Reohm, baby. Reohm.
Boom.
Merry Christmas, or
Yes,
whoever comes down your chimney.
Yeah, exactly. Take
Hey,
care, guys.
take care. Bye bye. Thank you.